Saving often, especially before renders, is a good habit to get into, so let's get started early. You can use the File Save menu item or Ctrl-S keyboard shortcut. The status window will update with a message telling you the project was saved. You can also save the project as a component, which allows you to add useful project information and make it available in the component gallery. So what is a component? It's a building block in your project that can be saved, shared, and loaded into other projects. In its current freeform mode, the scene at a glance shows all component categories. If you expand the Atmospheres category by clicking the plus in front of it, you'll see all the atmosphere components. Ones that WCS created start with the project name. Let's save this project as a component. We're going to need a thumbnail image to identify it, so click anywhere in the island camera view to activate it, and key F9 to make a preview render. You can also start a render with the Preview Render button in the last group on the icon toolbar. Our render won't look like much yet because we only have the default gray ground effect covering it, but it will do for a start. Close out the Render Complete box and Diagnostic Data window. WCS saves each render as WCS-LastRender.iff in the WCS Frames folder. Go up to the File menu and select Sign and Save to open the Component Signature window. To the right of the Image for Thumbnail field, click the disk icon to open the file requester and select WCS-LastRender.iff. The extra pane I have attached to the right side of my file requester is ImageFox, part of the ACDC suite by ACD Systems. It comes in handy for previewing images without interrupting workflow. Open the image and WCS will make it the component thumbnail. Add a complete description in the comments box, keeping in mind that this will help you and others if you share it understand what's in the component and how to use it. Click Save to Disk and Close to save the component. The Save Project box will warn us that a project of that name already exists, which we know, so overwrite. Open the Component Gallery from the Windows section of the icon toolbar, and you'll see our island project on the Project General page. To see the imported DEM, open the Database Editor from the upper toolbar, or use the Alt-D keyboard shortcut. If your editor does not open docked in an open matrix cell, it's in floating mode and can be dragged around the screen. To dock it, right-click its title bar and select Dock to snap it to an open cell. The database editor is the best place to access all the DEMs and vectors in your project. We'll need it in a moment, so click your island camera view to activate it and key F8 to switch back to a real-time view. Enter past the view box and we're back in OpenGL. How do we know that the island object in the database editor is our DEM? Click on it in the database editor to activate it. It turns yellow in views and shows up as Island DEM in the active item window. Up to now, we've left the scene at a glance in freeform mode, but let's break it down now into task modes. That's where the first 8 buttons on the icon toolbar come in. They filter the upper pane and show only task-specific component categories. Let's start with the last one first, the Render Task Mode. For now, we're only interested in the Cameras category, so expand the listing. You'll recognize the 3 cameras from the pop-up menu. They're the ones that WCS created with the project. The first 4 buttons directly above the scene at a glance allow you to enable, disable, add or clone, and delete categories and components. The next 3 buttons control item visibility in the upper pane, and the last one expands the scene at a glance. Component operations can also be accessed from a right-click on the component itself. Double-click the island camera to open its editor. The first thing we're going to do is rename the camera. Highlight the name on the general page, type main, and enter. By default, new perspective cameras are of the targeted type, with the target in the center of the terrain. Open the Position and Orientation page, activate the Planimetric View, and use the minus key to zoom back a notch. You can see our main camera icon highlighted in yellow. Activate the main view and hold down the spacebar to enter the Manipulate View camera mode. When the spacebar is depressed, you'll notice that the Manipulate View's camera button is depressed on the icon toolbar. Click the Move button, or press the M key, and left-click and drag left and right to move along the X-axis, and drag up and down to move along the Y-axis, toward and away from the target. You'll also see the camera move in the plan view. Right-click and drag up and down to move along the Z or elevation axis. For a targeted camera, all movement is relative to the target line of sight. To see the target, release the spacebar to exit Manipulate View camera mode, deselect the IslandEms enabled box in the database editor, and the target will be visible in the main camera view. Activate the main camera view, press the spacebar again to manipulate view camera, and WCS remembers the move mode we were in last time we manipulated the camera. As we move the camera, the view remains centered on the target. Release the spacebar, enable the DEM again, depress the spacebar, and click the Rotate button or press the R key. We can now rotate the camera. Left-click, drag left and right to change the heading, and up and down to vary the pitch. You can see the values change in the main camera editor. Right-click, drag left and right to change the bank angle. The default camera position button on the toolbar returns the active camera to its default location.